Hey, all work, no pleasure. I ain't here to make friends, big stepper. Hey, bad guy, Heath Ledger. Ready for wherever, I'll be front and center. Don't fly too close to the sun, your body chopped up by propellers. Came in arrogant, but left out in a stretcher. The comparison, y'all know y'all couldn't replicate it. Chilling in the desert, I'm good under pressure. Stick around, let me hold it down. Look at what we found.
Welcome to the official podcast of PHP Architect. Join us to listen to the latest news and tech talk from our conferences, the magazine, and wider PHP community.
Oops.
What was the oops?
I'll explain in a second. You're listening to the official podcast of the PHP Architect. This is episode 2025-04.03. I am one of your hosts, Eric Van Johnson, and with me, as always, is my other host, John Congdon.
Yellow.
This podcast focuses on all things PHP and web development. We also touch on the larger PHP community and the general life of being a developer. And of course, we talk about our company, PHP Architect, the magazine, the books, and our wonderful conference. We record every week, Thursday around 3 p.m. Pacific time. This podcast is made a little better thanks to our partners at Honey Badger. Honey Badger helps you to deploy with confidence and be your Honey Badger helps you.
Try again.
It's got too many things on there.
I know. Ignore that. Just go do your thing. Do your thing.
Honey Badger helps you deploy with confidence and be your team's DevOps hero by combining error, uptime, and performance monitoring in one simple platform. It's free to get started, and setup is just a few minutes. Setup takes just a few minutes. There you go. Be the hero your team needs. Suit up at honeybadger.io. We'll talk more about Honey Badger a little later.
All right. You realize that we have like overlays and captions and keywords.
You've got one job to do all that stuff.
That was my first time having to do an overlay. I'm sorry.
If you don't watch the live stream and only listen to the audio version, we're not shaming you. You know, that's a life choice. You're free to make those decisions, but you're also missing out. First off, if you do listen to the audio stream, we do ask that you pop over to our YouTube channel and subscribe to our YouTube channel because it's more than just a podcast. We release videos, and we also have Scott who does his community corner, as well as our educational videos that he does. So he does a great job. But more importantly, by listening to us live when we record, at the actual time we record, you can be part of that conversation by joining us in our Discord channel at discord.phparch.com. You pop on in there, you can have a conversation. You see the conversation scrolling to the right there. You can be part of the show. You can suggest titles, all sorts of fun things. So consider joining us in our Discord. And I think that's it. I'm ready to start. You ready to start, John? Let's get
Always
this going.
ready to start.
All right.
Oh
yeah.
Always.
So I have been muting us as we do the intro stuff because it has happened in the past where we've gone from one intro video to the other intro video and it quickly cuts to us, then cuts to the other video. So I mute us. And then when I'm playing the last video, I unmute us. And I forgot to unmute us.
I happen to have another window over our restream window. And I was like, I need to get back. And when I came back, you were just sitting there. I'm like, what happened?
Yep. That would have been what
last
happened.
Minute show prep. You gotta love it.
Yeah. Been one of those weeks, actually, man. Holy smokes. We can dive into that. Let's talk about your week because I've got a lot to ramble on about, and I got to figure out what I'm filtering out. So
yeah, the filtering is the hard part. I mean, overall, it's been a pretty good week. I mean, as usual, I can't seem to get through 1 week without something breaking during a release, and this week was no different because I
Um,
released
It might be
code.
the developer. I'm not sure.
It might be. I released code that integrated with Salesforce. I mean, we've had this integration with Salesforce for years now, and I had to make a small change, teeny weeny small change. The funny part is the change that was requested. It was about inbound calls into what we call the dialer, and sorry, I got too much sound in the background. Getting inbound calls into this dialer, and it works, but forever it only showed the outbound calls information in our dialer. So you really got no information other than you're talking to somebody. You'd have to manually go in a separate window to Salesforce to update that contact. And the request was, I want to see the inbound calls information, which makes perfect sense. We just never took time to incorporate that. Literally a one-line change. And it worked. Mostly. It did what it was supposed to do, which was great. And then there was the request of, well, if we don't know who the Salesforce person is, it's got to do some other stuff. Not a big deal. Made all that work. Except I broke it somehow in doing that last part. And Salesforce is so complicated. I don't understand it. And it was like, if I dialed in from one of what they call a scratch org, which is like a sandbox,
Mhm.
the URL was a little bit different than another, like a production account, but I couldn't tell that was what was happening. So if I removed this middle piece of the URL, it just worked. I'm like, oh, we must have had that and it doesn't really do anything. And so I removed it. And so it worked in my local development, in the QA's local development, in our CI environment. I guess it all worked until it went to production, and then like nobody could use it. Nobody could use the outbound version, which was the primary version. It just stopped working. I'm like, so I get a phone call this morning. This is broken and I can revert it cleanly, but do you want to look at it before I revert? So I was like, I put that one little piece back into the URL. Everything worked fine. Even in my sandbox. I don't get it. It was broken in my sandbox. I don't understand. I hate coding. I am a terrible developer.
I know. I say that all the time, man.
I don't understand.
Yeah. I always, just when I think I'm the shit, like when I think, you know what, I've reached a new level, and then I realize, no, I really haven't. I'm pretty bad at this.
You always have those moments, right? You're like, I
Yeah.
got this. This is awesome. And then something breaks.
Yeah, always learning, man. That's the thing. Always learning. So it's fun.
The motto of our conference: continuing education. Come learn.
Continue education.
Continue
Let's
education and community.
let's touch on the conference a little bit, shall we?
Always.
All inappropriately and stuff. We've got some sponsors finally filling in, where we've got assets and all that other stuff. We're not done yet either. That's the exciting thing about it. We've got a couple more potential sponsors that might be coming down the pipeline, ideally in the next week or so. So if you're out there listening and you have any thought of being a sponsor at PHP Tech, we're getting down to crunch time. Can you believe it?
47 days.
47 days. 40. That's like a little over a month, John. Like,
you're telling me I understand how math works.
Jesus. So yeah, if you have any desire to be a sponsor, we'll take your money at any point in the process, but make sure that you make it on all the banners and all the signage and in the magazine and all that. We really kind of need to wrap something up in the next week or two.
Yeah.
So if you work for somebody you think might benefit from being a sponsor at PHP Tech, have that conversation quickly. And we're in the tail end of a couple of conversations. So hopefully those come through, and we have a few more to add to the list. But really excited with how well the conference is coming together. we were talking about today, as a matter of fact, John and I actually had lunch together, and it's every year, man. It's so stressful. And then the closer it gets, the more stressful it gets. And then when we finally realize that, people are coming, we have sponsors, things start to relax a little bit, and then all of a sudden you realize you have to actually do it, and then it all just like builds back up again. It really needs to be a name for that condition. I don't know what it is, but holy smokes.
Yeah.
So yeah, the wife has contributed. What? We have another blog post. Who did this blog post? What? Who is this?
I know the image sucks, but the whole point was I created it quickly of once you get to the airport, how do you get from the airport to the hotel? And there's 2 ways to do it.
There's the traditional way, and there's the new elite way.
Yeah. So if you find yourself at the airport in Chicago and you want to get to our venue, you can go to the shuttle area and you can wait for a shuttle like everybody else. The shuttle runs every 30 minutes, so you could be sitting there for a while. But if you have a lot of luggage or you don't want to lug it behind you, maybe that's the way to go. But what we've learned recently is if you just jump on the airport train and take it over to the car rental center, it's literally 2 blocks. You exit there, walk up the street, and there you're at the Sheraton Suites, ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, and pretty much all of this is indoor. Like, you're not coming out over here and walking. You come out at. Oh, you can't see my. I keep forgetting you don't see my mouse. So yeah, you do. Yeah, you come out and then you cross the street, and at that point you're basically in parking lots at that point. So yeah,
Right.
It's very quick. It's way faster than the
You
the
got
hotel
that.
shuttle.
You get out of the rental car place and you got that one building right in front of you.
Yeah,
But once you kind of get around that and then you see the Sheraton, you're like, oh, it's right there.
yeah,
I got it.
exactly.
The first time is a little daunting, but after that, it's very easy. And then when you want to go, say you want to go downtown, you just do the same thing. Head back to the car rental place, take the train over to the airport, jump on the train, and go downtown.
And
Very
we actually have a blog post of that, getting around Chicago now, and kind of explains a lot of that, what the L train is, the fact that you can get it at the airport, and we also have another blog post of things to do in and around Chicago. So, like, I did the Navy Pier last year, which was the first time I had done the Navy Pier. And that was exciting. That was a lot of fun. I think Derek did like the whole walk of.
He does
like,
like a 20-mile walk or something.
Yeah, man. There's like this path you can walk, and I think he was saying he was going to do that last year. I did one of the museums. Actually, not last year, but Laracon was held at one of the museums in Chicago. I don't think it was the Art Institute Museum, but I'm planning on trying to do that probably this year. Here it is. I think it's the Museum of Science and Industry was it. So yeah, lots of fun things. Beck and I did Lincoln Park Zoo, which is a free zoo in Chicago one year. Was that last year? Maybe the year before we did that. So yeah, lots of fun things to do. And speaking of my lovely wife even wrote a blog post about what she gets out of going to tech. And the fact that even though she's not a developer, she's not even in the web industry, not even in our industry, she's made friends and she enjoys, seeing these people every year. So I thought that was very nice of her to write. And then, of course, she gets to go to some baseball games as always. So.
She gets to, or she's dragged to?
She's dragged to, yeah. Yeah. We had a very, very baseball holy moment when she accidentally. So last year we went to the Cubs game and we went to a White Sox game. So the White Sox is in the south of Chicago, and the Cubs, of course, is in the north. And we're having a conversation. She goes, yeah. She goes, what stadium was that at? I'm like, that was the Cubs stadium, Wrigley Field. And she was like, was that the crappy one? I'm like, old. It was the old one. It's not crappy. Lots of history there.
The one with history.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, she has valid plays like at the White Sox stadium. I mean, it's very much like the modern stadiums you see today. Like you can pretty much walk anywhere in the stadium and see the field. Whereas in Wrigley, you basically go into a basement to get like your concessions and stuff, and you know. But
You're
yeah,
encouraged to be in your seat, not go to the
exactly.
concessions.
So that was that was one of those things. Like, yeah, no, it's not crappy. It's historic. It's the historic field. Yes, I remember. It's funny. Oh God, not to date myself. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. But when we went to the game, it was a day game. But I always noticed the lights. And when I was a kid, there was the song about when the lights come on Wrigley Field, and it was meant to be, you know, it's never going to happen. Like the lights will never come on at Wrigley Field because Wrigley Field doesn't have lights. And even when I was a kid, Wrigley Field didn't have lights. Then it did. And it just doesn't feel the same anymore. I'm an old man, though.
Yes, we are. Happens.
So yeah, excited.
I feel old in a different way because I've had I don't want to
Your
say
looks. Yeah,
there's that too. You know how you get set in your ways. You do things a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And I had an interesting thing this past week where, again, writing code. I've been working on this code base now for almost 15 years, and we have constants for how many hours are in a, or how many seconds are in an hour, how many minutes are in an hour. The constants are there, and I use them. It's just there. And we have another developer on the team who's like, hey, I saw you use this. Don't worry about changing any PRs you have open now, but you really shouldn't use those. You should be using the constants over in this other class. And I'm like, I take it personally. I can't get a PR through without some sort of feedback. It drives me nuts. I just want this to work. So I'm like, fine. I'm going to open a PR, getting rid of all the old constants and use all the new constants and be good. Except the new constant class was missing 4. Missing 4 constants. So I'm like, I'll add them and we'll be good. We won't have access to the old ones. I won't be able to use them. No big deal. Then he writes to me. He goes, yeah, there's an issue here. And I look at what I had added, and I knew exactly what he was going to say. And it drives me nuts because he's so smart, and he's right. And I hate it that he's right, but it drives me crazy.
Stop being right.
One of the constants is either seconds or minutes in 100 years. And it's the stupidest thing, but 15 years ago, we're creating auth tokens that we want to last forever. So we created this stupid constant to say this is going to last for 100 years. And the funny part is it's not even 100 years because it only goes to 2106 because that's where the timestamp ends. Like you can't go past that at this point. So I put it in there and he's like, it's not right. And he points out the fact that the number of minutes in 100 years isn't this number. And I'm like, I wrote to him because at this point I'm just so stressed and I know he's right, but I'm pissed off. And I'm like, seriously, do you think I'm going to care about 25 days in 100 years? Like in 99 years, 11 months, I'm not going to care if their token works or not. So I was...
There's a good chance I'm not going to care in about 20 years. So.
Yeah. And it's like, I know he's right, but deep down I'm like pissed off and I get it. I don't know. It's done. Like I took it so personally because I'm hot-headed at times. I'm like, seriously? And I closed the PR. I'm like, fine. I'm not going to do this. Just done. And that's me. That was me throwing a temper tantrum. Like, I get it. I took it personally. I got upset. There's probably a better way to handle this.
If it makes you feel any better, I had the same internal struggle when you got so big on value objects I'm like, oh my fucking God, if he says something about value objects to me one more time, I'm gonna take a knife to his jugular. And now I'm all in on value objects. So however you feel towards this person, just know I have felt that way towards you.
Thanks. No, I love this guy. Like I said, he's the smartest guy I know. He's such a great developer. It's just I'll create a PR. Let's say it changes 15 lines. He comes through and creates a PR that changes 50 lines, but his is better. And I was like, damn it. Like, I need to retire. Like, I'm too old. I can't do this anymore. There's other ways to do it.
It's not even that. I realize I mentioned this earlier. As a matter of fact, when we were on a call with a client, like, we hire people way better than we are at development.
Mhm.
And it hurts, man. It hurts to realize that, you're not top of the food chain. And but at the same time, it's like, yeah, really this is how it should be. Like, I shouldn't be anywhere near the top of the company that I hire people for. Like, I should always be hiring people better than I am.
Hmm.
So it's yeah, man. I come to that realization. It's like, oh man, why am I trying to do this anymore? But I do love it. I love it. I am looking forward to our meetup next week, man. Or yeah, next week, next Tuesday. Holy, not even a week away, John.
I know.
Yeah, if you're in San Diego and you are interested in going to in-person meetups again, the official PHP X San Diego, because San is starting up. John and I are starting it up. We're rebranding the old SDPHP, San Diego PHP user group, to fall in line with the new PHP X. And if you're not aware, PHP X Global is just this initiative to within the PHP community to kind of give some consistency to a naming convention for user groups in the area. So what they've been doing, I don't know if this is still the case, but is why we are technically PHP X San. It's PHP X, then whatever the major airport code is around where you are. So ours is Sans for San Diego, but I imagine LA would be LAX, right? It would be PHP X LAX. Oh, holy God, we should get that, John. PHP X LAX.
X-Lax.
Like, we're twice the X as anybody else.
Oh, I thought you were going with the X-Lax version of that.
Yeah, so if you're San Diego area and you listen to this podcast, which we found out that's how some people found us, is by being in the San Diego area and listening to our podcast. But yeah, check us out. It's gonna be fun. We're excited. It's gonna be pretty casual. This first one's gonna be pretty casual as we try to see who's interested in coming. Kind of getting to know our new host, who is Nest Cowork. Really appreciative of them offering some space to us. So just trying to get a feel for everything, see how everything goes, see if everybody's interested in doing it monthly like we've historically done it, or bi-monthly or quarterly. I don't know what people are interested in anymore.
Weekly, who knows?
Yeah, I know that's not happening, is what I know. But yeah, we'll see. I'm excited. All right. Let's take a moment. Where are we at on time here? Already 30 minutes in. I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant. So before I do that, let's go ahead and hear from our sponsors, Honey Badger.
When your app breaks in production, you want to quickly understand and fix it, not sift through logs for the next hour. That's where Honey Badger comes in. Honey Badger notifies you of errors, outages, and performance issues as they occur and helps you respond instantly when your systems go down. When you need to dig deeper, Honey Badger's advanced query engine helps you reach into your logs and grab just the information you need. With error tracking, performance and uptime monitoring, log management, and support for over 10 languages, Honeybadger is the best tool to gain real-time insights into your application's health and performance. Best of all, it's free to get started, and setup takes less than 5 minutes. Be sure to bookmark honeybadger.io. That's www.honeybadger.io. Thank you, Honeybadger.
Honeybadger. Why do you still have that chair up, John? Oh, that was not rude. That was rude. What?
What did I do? I missed it.
John's coming to Denver, Colorado with me after tech. We're heading to Laricon. So
I'm being dragged.
You're being
screaming, kicking and screaming. I don't want to go.
I wouldn't have it any other way. Let me see before I say anything. Nope. Laricon does not have sponsors up yet, so we'll just hold off on that conversation for now.
Do they have a venue yet? Nope.
They do have a venue. The venue is called...
No. I meant hotels, like at the bottom, because I haven't booked a place to stay yet, because they're like, check back on March 31st. Well, it's now April 3rd. Just saying.
Yeah.
We
we have a hotel. Technically, they said check back on March 31st, and they didn't say there would be anything there. They just said, hey, come back, look, see if we have anything. Yeah, I guess we need to do that too, huh?
Yep.
Never been to Denver, so I don't even know, how walkable it is or anything. I remember the first year we did...
It's not walkable. It's a mile in the air, mile up. You're going to run out of breath real quick.
The first time we did... which one was it? Longhorn? What's the new one in Texas?
Yeah, Longhorn.
Longhorn. The first year we did Longhorn, you and I don't think we had a car, and we walked from the room to the conference, the hotel to the conference, and it was not an easy walk. It was some distance, man. So we'll see. But don't worry about that. You worry about tech. You worry about tech first.
Tech, you don't have to walk anywhere. You're right there. You're good to go.
Right, you have to walk downstairs is all you have to do. Walk downstairs. And we do have some fantastic Laravel people there.
Although, if you're having trouble booking a room, please email me.
Yes.
Let me know, and we'll see what we can do.
Yes, we're getting reports that the room block has been filled, but we don't think it has. We're trying to get clarification and seeing if it is, if we can get more. But that should it honestly, where we are as far as time goes, we are getting to that point where if you want to stay in the same hotel, the same where the venue where the conference is, you do want to book. So get on there, get your ticket, get your hotel room booked first. You can actually book your hotel room before you get the ticket. You don't have to buy the ticket first.
This just in from the hotel. I looked at the block and there was an issue with the 5/19 date. I have fixed this, so they should be good to book a room now. Sorry about that.
Okay, cool.
So they did mess up our room block. It's fixed, but book now before they do fill up.
Yeah, and it is filling up. I mean, we see our room block. That was the thing that threw us off. It's like, wow, we didn't sell that many tickets from the last time we got this report. It's crazy that many rooms got booked, and that's what got us looking into it. So it is filling up. Be aware. All right. So listen, just a PSA. I'm just gonna put this out there because we talk about this all the time, and it is always this abstract kind of thought process, this thing that you kind of use to scare people, but it's real. The bus factor. We had as close to a bus factor happen recently, not within our group, but within a client that we work with, where it was very much okay, who has the keys to the kingdom now? And a bunch of people just kind of sitting around shrugging their shoulders like, I don't know. So it's
luckily he wasn't really hit by a bus, but
no, fortunately. Yeah, we were able to, and that's the other thing. Always stay on good have a good relationship with everybody around you, because you never know when you're going to need them. So yeah, I tell you, man, and I do meet. I'm all honesty. If you're a lone wolf out there, if you work in an organization that thinks it's fine having you do everything and that you don't need anybody else, you need to have the bus factor conversation. If you're not aware of what that discussion point is the idea is, if this person gets hit by a bus, what they're responsible for, how does it get handled? So this goes beyond development. Obviously we worry about the development world, but anything, if you feel like there's too much on your shoulders, as far as the company's dependent on you as an individual for too much, have that bus factor conversation with somebody. If for no other reason, get it in an email so you have some documentation on it, because it is a very important thing for people to acknowledge. And yeah, and chances are, if you are the main issue in a bus factor, as far as if you were to go away, uh, you know, the place that you left would be in trouble. Then you've probably got too much on your plate to begin with.
And it's hard like, I can see somebody being in that position being like, well, at that point, I don't care. But
Right.
it's important. And if you need backup, PHP Architect is available. Contact us. We'll be your backup.
We're actually getting good at that. We not only handle full development and sysops, as it turns out, solutions, but we have gotten very good at becoming good at augmenting existing teams. So reach out to us, and keep your mental health stable, and don't ever feel bad asking for help.
Yeah, and that's another good point. You brought up mental health. If you're the only developer and you try to go on vacation and you're being called all the time, you need help. Like, you shouldn't be that needed. I mean, it's nice to feel needed, but if you're in that position where you can't take a vacation, you should have some sort of backup help, whether it's a part-time person that works with you, or a company like us where we're not looking to take your job. We're not looking like we'll be there to augment. We'll be there to help, as long as we have some sort of contract in place where we know your code base, so that when you are gone, we can step in when things happen so you can enjoy your vacation. Like, as developers, we understand, enjoy your vacation. You don't want to be called at that point. And it sucks when you are. I was in that world for 10 years, and it sucks. Like,
you're still in that world. What the hell are you talking about?
But at this point,
John is very strategic. John is very strategic about his vacations. He's like, yeah, Eric, I'm going in the middle of the Sahara. There's zero cell coverage. There's zero internet. Don't even try calling me.
Like, if everything breaks, deal with it.
Yeah, but yeah, we all have been there, I guess, in some form or fashion. But all right, been having a lot of recent conversations about wanting to get my head around and get good at something else besides PHP. Not that I'm looking to move on from PHP, mainly some sort of JavaScript framework. I've been really focused on React after all the research I've done and stuff. React seems like the strongest contender. So I've been slowly trying to learn it, but I just can't, it doesn't hold my interest. I swear to God, I don't know what it is about JavaScript. Like, I can go deep down the rabbit hole with Python, with Go. I mean, just about any language I can kind of really start to embrace and, start to like really want to figure out. JavaScript is just not that to me. I can't tell you why. It's just not.
Do you think
but I've been trying.
Do you think it's the asynchronous nature of it?
I think it's the JavaScript needs work. I think they don't know how to code properly is part of the problem. Hey, that's just my opinion. I don't know. No, I honestly, I don't know what it is. And I feel I have felt this way before, but never to the point with JavaScript where as I'm doing something, I'm like, it would be so much easier to do this in PHP. Like, why are we doing all this shit? Like, this is crap. And it feels like you're going backwards in time where you're putting HTML in your code because that's how it has to render. And it's like, oh my God, why is this how it is? But yeah,
It's because they're trying to put all the HTML that goes with a component, right? It's
yeah.
components at that point,
Yeah.
and here's what you need to develop this one
And
piece
that's the
of the
thing.
website.
It's like Tailwind. You go to a bunch of these Tailwind components, and they have the JavaScript written for you. It's typically either Vue or React. They'll write it out for you with the Tailwind components, with the Tailwind styling in it. And I'm like, but I don't want this, I just want the styling, I don't need this mix and match crap you're trying to do to me. Fortunately, I apparently there's other people in our world that might have the same. I'm trying to segue, John. I'm
You're
not
doing
doing
a
a
good
great
job.
job. You think?
Yeah, you're
I
doing good.
don't feel like it. Laravel released Wayfinder this week, and I read through this a couple times. Matter of fact, right before the show, I read through it to make sure, like, I was getting my head around it. I'm going to read through it again for our listeners. I promise you, if I'm describing this incorrectly, I am sorry. I have not had an opportunity to try to use it, but let's get started. Laravel Wayfinder, which I'm not sure. That just feels like a weird word. Wayfinder bridges your
Are you
Laravel
not? It's
backend.
Moana. Come on, bud.
That's
You're
Wave. Isn't it
you're
Wayfinder?
you're a wayfinder. Yeah,
Well, this is Way.
yeah, wayfinder.
Bridges your Laravel backend and TypeScript front end with zero friction. Find that hard to believe? Let's read on. It automatically generates fully typed importable TypeScript functions for your controllers and routes. So you can call your Laravel endpoints directly in your client code just like any other function. No more hard coding URLs, guessing route parameters or root parameters wherever in the world you happen to live, or syncing backend changes manually. Note, Wayfinder is currently in beta. The API is subject to change prior to release of 1.0. So if I'm understanding this correctly, go ahead.
No, you first.
If I'm understanding this correctly, there's a composer component to install, obviously for the PHP piece. There's an npm component to install. You have to make some, assuming you're using Vite because you're on the current Laravel framework, you have to make some entry into your Vite config file. And that's pretty much it. There's some other exports you can do.
It sounds to me like this is just basically creating an SDK automatically from your classes.
Right? Like I think that's almost what it is. So then you run the Wayfinder generate command can be used to generate TypeScript definitions for your routes and controllers. So essentially what that means is you write your controllers in PHP, you write your Laravel controllers, and if in your JavaScript, you're trying to pass something to like to show all the records or to do a post or an update, you import that function from the controller and you import it directly into your JavaScript. So if you're watching the live stream, you see this is what it looks like. So the show method would be a method in your post controller. So you're importing show from your post controller, and then you just show, in this case, 1, assuming that's the record number, which is the same as post record number 1. this seems very cool. I've got to be completely honest with you. As somebody who doesn't do a lot of JavaScript coding, this appeals to me. Because I can continue writing my PHP. This was a big thing with Livewire, right? Like I didn't have to learn JavaScript. I can write all my logic in PHP, and then I can have this dynamic piece that ties into it without me having to understand a bunch of JavaScript. Livewire was a little bit more streamlined, but this is a good next step, I think.
Yeah, so this is, you're still writing JavaScript/TypeScript,
Right.
but you're accessing the functions of your controller almost directly.
Right. Exactly. And I mean,
It's fascinating. It's very interesting.
yeah, there's another piece that kind of gave you that ability, which was inertia, would allow you to pass uh, variables from your PHP backend to your JavaScript front end. So this just seems like a step above, and it's like you said, it's TypeScript, not JavaScript, which is a little better. It allows you to do invocables, which is very cool. I've been a big invocable person of my recent older age, where each controller has a single function. Like there's not a post controller that does a show, update, create. It's just
right. Single responsibility.
Single responsibility. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have to give this a go. In the routes, again, the routes is another thing. Yeah, being able to, because that was the other thing that frustrated me every time I looked in React, because the way I was interpreting it is I would either need it always seemed like this hodgepodge of, okay, if I want to do this piece with React, I have to let React handle the routing. But if I want to, I want most of my routing to be in PHP, and I don't know, it always seemed like a clusterfuck to me. So this is appealing to me. I'm going to have to, again, coming from somebody who is not a fan of a little bit more of a fan of TypeScript than I am JavaScript, but not a fan of any of this. And so I'll have to play with this. Oh, here, Wayfinder and inertia. When using inertia, you can pass the result of a Wayfinder method directly into the submit method or use form. So basically, yeah, it's basically the same thing. Man. It's definitely lowering that challenge of moving from one to the other in my head. I haven't actually tried it, but
I mean, the hard part, like anything else, is finding the right use case or having a use case where you can actually play with that, because a lot of the stuff we work on doesn't have a ton of JavaScript already.
Yeah, or I try to. I love APIs. I try to stay in the back end as much as possible. So
yeah,
I definitely don't. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe and again, this is early release, so definitely don't try to deploy to production unless you're one of those lunatics that like to live that way.
So Caesar wrote, I had a bug with JavaScript today. Hours lost because async is not handled the same way in for each than in for loops. I'm curious what you mean by that, because it should be very similar. I mean, obviously in an async nature it's a little bit different, but not. You're still looping over a collection of stuff and doing something to it.
Yeah, I don't understand why.
I would love to know more about this bug in so that if I ever hit it, I can say, oh yeah, Caesar taught me about this back on April 3rd, 2025.
2025. Jeez Louise. All right.
And then Jeffrey Davidson said Ziggy. I guess that's one of the names you can give your Echo devices.
It is.
And so one of my kids is using that as their code word for their device. And I'm like, do you even know what Ziggy means? Do you know where that comes from?
Do you know?
Do I know? I know it from Quantum Leap. That's my intro to Ziggy.
Was it Quantum Leap or was it Buck? Oh no, Buck Rogers was. Wait, what? What was it? Quantum Leap that had Ziggy?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Buck Rogers. What was Buck Rogers?
I
Twiggy was Buck Rogers.
I don't know. I know. So there's a new Quantum Leap that came out on Netflix. Oh, that's pretty good. I liked it.
I couldn't watch it. I tried watching it. Yeah, I was a big Quantum Leap fan back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's nostalgia, I guess, for me. It just felt like I don't know. And I honestly don't remember that much, but there was enough of a divergence from the original, like the way the original Quantum Leap was done. I was kind of like, yeah, that's not it. You're not doing it right.
You broke it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was interesting. I binged it.
There, Caesar has replied. If order is important, let me bring it up here. If order is important, you should go with 4. For each does not guarantee order of execution. I knew that actually.
Really? I've never run into.
Yeah. So yeah, especially in asynchronous. So you can have a race condition. Thank you, Caesar. Thank you very much. I don't know why I knew that. I think we had that problem before.
I've never run into that.
Yeah. All right, what do you got, John?
I got very small collections, so for each over 132 versus 123, it works just fine. It's the way it works.
I had to introduce Joe, our newest employee at PHP Architect. Yeah, Joe's the newest, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I had to introduce him to CouchDB. And we have a love-hate relationship with CouchDB within PHP Architect. Not many of us understand it. Even fewer of us really appreciate it. I'm kind of on the fence where I appreciate it. I don't really understand it. I think it has a very small window of where it makes sense to implement, especially today where Postgres and MySQL both have just out of the box have JSON types for columns. And then I think even MySQL now can even be a complete document store, but I've never heard of anybody who actually uses it that way. But I will give CouchDB credit where credit's due. The thing I've always liked about CouchDB was the fact that there's no drivers for it. The protocol to interact with CouchDB is the HTTP protocol. So it's get, put, post, which I always really appreciated. Anything you can do in the very limited interface of CouchDB, you can do through curl commands. So I did like that piece of it. One of the other really cool things, and if you're not familiar with what CouchDB is a document store. It's just JSON, zero schema to it. A record can have anything in it, and they don't have to be consistent within a database. Like a database, each record can have all its own data. There's no it's basically schemaless. It's not basically, it's a schemaless data store. There's others out there. Mongo is another example of that. But the cool thing about it is absolutely insane thing about it is replication. How easy it is. Well, first thing, how easy it is to spin up the CouchDB itself. It's a very simple thing to implement. But replication is bonkers. It's fast. It's very simple to set up. And I got to introduce Joe to that yesterday. And I definitely feel like there was that moment of, wait, no, that didn't happen just now. It wasn't that quick, was it? It's like, no, it happens that fast, Joe. That's why we're using it. So, yeah. It takes a while to develop an appreciation for it. And, it has its place. But like I said, I think that window, as time goes on, is getting smaller and smaller. We have a new mobile developer. And so the existence of Couch in any of our infrastructure might be limited because that's mainly where we use it is our mobile. Not mainly, it's where we use it for our mobile development. It's one of the solutions we have to keep data in sync with handheld devices. So if he comes up with another solution and he, makes an argument of why it's better, we'd definitely be open to entertaining that. But yeah, I do like Couch. I wrote an article about CouchDB and PHP Architect a few months ago. If you're ever interested, I even made it a free article. So whatever month that was, you can go download it today. Everybody listening should do that. Go to phparch.com and go to the month I wrote the CouchDB article and go download it. I'll let John talk and I'll see if I can't track that down.
You'll find it eventually.
Yeah.
The way the developers before we took over did their handheld was when you logged in, they made an API request, downloaded all of the data from the database, and spun up a local database on the handheld. And depending on how many records you have, that could take forever. And you're basically just sitting there waiting for it to sync. And what a nightmare.
First that magazine I selected, John. I found it.
Good job.
I'm adding it to the show notes for everybody who cares. There's a free article about CouchDB by a non-CouchDB aficionado. I mean, I'm a PHP developer who wrote an article about it, so you can do that too.
Awesome. I was just gonna bring up some of the RFCs that I happened to see recently, mostly to say I'm an old man and I don't understand. There are people that are so smart and I hate it. Why are people so smart? Why am I so dumb? I don't even know what a grapheme cluster for Levenstein is.
Well, John, it's clearly the Levenstein cluster of graphene.
Exactly. Don't know anything about it other than it's in voting and it's got all yeses so far. 9 yeses. I see a lot about UTF-8 and I don't know. I don't know what this does. But I do know the next one, which was very interesting to me. The next one is, where did I put it?
I don't know.
The pipe operator version 3.
Oh, there's a version 3. Was there a version 2? Did I miss version 2? Jesus.
It's version 1 as well.
Everybody knows what the pipe operator is.
So this one is interesting, and it hasn't been up for voting. And this is where I really need to start looking into the internals emailing list, because I'd love to see the back and forth on what people are saying leading up to the voting, because I don't know. It's very interesting. I just don't know if I would use it. Like, if you write fluent methods for your classes where you can arrow function all over the place, like call each method individually, set this, set that, filter this. Like, if you make a very fluent interface, it seems like what this is trying to do in a outside of the class spectrum. Like, I call this method, it gives me back an array. I can then pipe that array into something else, like a function. It shows a callable there, shorthand function a little further down on your screen, right there. So you call get users, you get back an array. It's at the very top now. You just passed it. It then takes the output of that, shoves it into this anonymous function, filters it, takes the result of that, throws it into the counts method, and you get back your count versus flip-flopping that. So they're trying to, I think, make it more functional versus object-oriented.
Yeah, these kids these days and their functional programming.
I mean, it kind of can make sense, right? These are,
I guess.
It's like, I mean, you do the same thing by just grabbing the users and then shoving it into this filter, getting that result, and then shoving it into the count. It's just doing it without having to have all these temporary variables along the way.
Yeah. All right. I'll give. Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying there.
So I don't know if that's the sole reason for doing it, but it'd be interesting.
If you're ever interested in the conversation that's had on these internals, you can go to not that, don't worry about that, but externals.io. There's your pipe operator right there, John. There's the conversation. Very nice, laid out. Would you stop popping up last password? I'll log in later. And the cool thing about logging
now?
Cool thing about logging in, I'll log in now. I don't care. It's just GitHub, so I'm always logged into GitHub, so it's the boom. The cool thing about this is as you read these things, it will make note that you're up to date on everything that's been posted. So when
it doesn't mean you
back,
understand it. It just means you looked at it at some point.
Exactly. So yeah, check it out. Externals.io is a great way to, without having to subscribe to the mailing list. This might even be a better way. Easier to search, easier to read.
Larry Garfield is always in there commenting, and you can come talk to him at PHP Tech in 47 days.
Most certainly can. Yeah. All right. Cool. What else you got for me? Lay it on me.
The only other one that I did read both of these.
I want to read I'm with the next one. But
I
go
know.
ahead.
I know. Go with this one first because I'm gonna say the same exact thing. I'm dumb. Like between compression and encryption, so many smart people and there's so many ways to do it, and I'm gonna do it wrong. And luckily, I have somebody on the team I work on that will tell me when I've done it wrong. Like you really don't want whatever this model. You want that model, or you don't want to do your compression with this old thing that was sold last year. You need the new Z standard and Brody.
Of course, absolutely. We all like to Brody.
Yeah. Again, I only put a couple of these on here because I feel so dumb reading through it because I don't fully understand. Like compression is compression. I know that's not the truth. I'm just being silly. I understand there's different ways to compress things, but it's like, did they really figure out how to compress our normal like GZ more? Is that what this is doing? What's the purpose of this specifically?
Maybe this is the whole center out sort of situation.
I don't know.
That's a never mind. I'm not even gonna explain myself to you anymore.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Let's see. What's the next one? Short and inner class. Oh, come on.
So this one, I'm looking through this and I don't understand why. So it's nested. It's basically nested classes, and you get the same syntax if you just have using PSR4, right? If you have a directory outer and then a class inner within it, you get the same ultimate concept. So I don't know what the ultimate purpose of this is other than to make your classes super confusing and not be single responsibility anymore.
Sarah,
so how do we break solid as quickly as possible?
Exactly right. Sarah, if you're listening, you might need to become like a regular on the show so you can explain this. This might be on just a level we just don't understand why it's needed, but yeah, I'm with you, John. I don't get it.
Like with PSR4, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Now, what happens if I have outer, inner, and then I have a directory outer and a class inner separately? Now what's going to happen?
Yeah.
It's got to break, right? It just can't be right.
I don't know. I hope I'm done coding by the time this all becomes standard. Good thing is our clients will never understand this, and we can just say, yeah, no, you don't want that. That's bad. Oh, man.
I mean, that's interesting. So they had the builder pattern in there. So having your builder within your class, that's actually kind of interesting.
Explain
So
yourself, please.
so usually you have a builder class. So they show example builder pattern.
Where am I
Further
seeing?
down, further down, further
Further
down.
down.
Yeah,
Further down.
keep going.
I'm at the
Not that
bottom.
far down. Not that far down. I don't know where it's at. It was right after use cases and examples.
All right. Oh, I'm doing my event binding on the wrong window. Builder. Next builder pattern. Here we
That
go.
one. So usually you have a builder class that all it does is take in some information and then create another object for you.
Mm-hmm.
But having the builder directly in the class that is building is kind of interesting. Now that I see that, like it's going to take in some information. So person builder itself is a class. You guys say, I want to set the name, I want to set the birthday. And then when you're ready to actually get the object, you call build, and it takes all the information it already knows and then gives you back the person class.
Hmm.
If you don't use builders very often, then it's not going to make sense. But
No, that makes a lot of sense. I don't understand why you think this is an interesting approach as opposed to how we do it today. But
you have two files. So anytime you want to change the person class, you also have to change the builder class. So you have to change
true.
both files versus the builder is right there. I'm changing my person class. I now need a name, age, and gender or whatever,
Right.
address or whatever. So I'm changing it here. I should also change my builder because it's right there.
Yeah.
At the end, it doesn't matter. You got to change it anyway. It's a different and interesting use case.
Yeah.
I should have read the whole thing before I put it into my Trello board.
Well, what's the point of that? I don't read my. Did you hear me fumble through Wayfinder? Don't read my stuff.
The last one I've had on here for a couple weeks because it's just killing me and I don't get it. Optional interfaces, and I think the voting finished. 19 say no, 15 say yes.
Well, then we don't need to worry about it, right? It's not happening.
We don't, but it's still fun to talk about. Like, do you see a use case for having an optional interface? The complaint here is, let's say you're an open source maintainer or you write some sort of library, you may want to be able to work with different versions of an object. And you can say, this one is optional. But usually we say, I want this or that. You have the pipe to say, I need one of these 2 or 3 types. Having an optional one just doesn't make a whole lot of sense other than, I guess you can say, I'm creating this library or this class and a logger is optional. If you give me a logger, I'll log for you all day long. But if you don't, I'm not going to. But
I mean, that's actually a great use case.
but usually in that case, in your constructor, you say, give me a logger or null. So you just don't pass anything in. You don't have a logger.
That's true.
I am not subscribing to that interface optionally. So I think it's that whole thing. Like I might implement this interface. That's the weird part. I don't understand that part.
Yeah. Like why would you be in that? Like what possible coding scenario would put you in that?
So they're saying I might implement this in a way that says if that interface exists. So if you have it in your composer, then I will implement it. If you don't, then I'm not.
Okay. All right. So like a optional dependency, right? I mean,
Right. So that's interesting, but still when I go to use that object, how do I know that it's implementing it or not? Right?
Right.
That's the hard part. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's probably why I got voted down. Like, I can kind of see it from a open source maintainer perspective, but
Right.
it's putting way too much on the
It's one of those really niche
user.
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. I still like that's how I feel about final, right? The final class. Like I can't ever think of a scenario where I would see the purpose of using that. But as an open source maintainer, like if I were to write a package, I could definitely see using final.
Yeah.
You know.
That's kind of like your NoSQL versus SQL. There's people that say it should always be final unless you can prove to me it shouldn't be, and there's some say it should never be final unless you prove to me it should be.
Right.
Versus it should always be SQL unless you can have a NoSQL, prove to me you need NoSQL, and others it should always be NoSQL unless you prove it's SQL.
Yep, 100%. All right. I think we fumbled our way through another podcast. How do you feel about that, John?
I think it was good.
So next week, just one more time as a quick reminder, next week we are going to have our local user group meetup. So if you're in San Diego and you're a fan of PHP or a user of PHP, or your job depends on that, or you're looking for people in the PHP ecosystem, come join us. Really excited about this, and then we'll see where it goes from there. And get your tech tickets. Tech is quickly approaching. Tickets are still available, but more importantly, make sure you get your room booked. And we look forward to seeing everybody at Tech here in a few weeks. And if you're interested in writing for the magazine, always looking for writers for the magazine. Very simple to do. We're definitely we try to keep it as low pressure as possible. Just a feature article is all you need to write. We're not asking you to write for us every month. We have our regular contributors for that. But if that's something that interests you, let us know. We can definitely talk about it. But feature articles, everybody has a feature article in you. I promise you, you have a feature article in you, and we'll help you format that and make it. We don't want you to look bad, because we don't want to look bad. It's our magazine. It's very important that the articles are good. More important to us than to you. So, and we pay you. That's the other really upside thing about it. I love the fact that the magazine is our way of, getting financially supporting people in our community. Anybody, right? So, reach out to John or I about any of that. You can hit us up at support@phparch.com, and that should find its way to us. You got anything else, John?
Nope.
All right. I think that will do it for this week. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us. Had a great time. See you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.
This has been PHP Podcast, the official podcast of PHP Architect, the industry's leading tech magazine and publisher, focused on PHP and web development. Subscribe today at phparch.com to see what the leaders in the community and industry are talking about.